Cardinal. I am an enterprise account executive with Braindate by E18, and this is actually here at Inbound. So we've been bringing the power of Braindates and meaningful connection to Partner Day for 2 years in a row.
Awesome. So tell me, what Braindate for those that are the uninitiated and maybe not experienced one before?
So it's actually backtrack conference, and you're walking around, you have your goals for why you're actually there, why you want to attend, and you kind of need to leave it to chance. You hope that that next handshake transformational conversation is good, but who knows? So what Braindate does is a way that participants and attendees can take control of their experience, host topics of conversations for one-on-ones and group conversations, not speed dating. These are usually 30 to 45-minute chats, where they can discuss much more intentionally that are importance to them.
Yeah.
So whether it's a brainstorm, whether it's storytelling and ask me anything, they don't need to be an expert, but they can find those other people that care about what they care about at the event. And by doing that, create that space of belonging while there, because they found their people and their time and energy for being at the event was valid.
What are the main reasons then for people getting involved in those conversations? Do they see them as like ways to connect with other people for tuning? Are they looking for sales leads? Like, what are the many reasons people are using to participate in the event?
Good question. It depends. Convicts 101 response, it depends. So we're agnostic when it comes to industry, because obviously the power of the people that come to it.
Yeah.
And the power of Braindate is that it's user generated on the whole. So the Braindate experience, event, the Braindate experience at a hospitality event, being at Partner Day or being at Dreamforce, they're going to look very different. So if someone's goal is to find a partner for their startup, if someone's goal is to find a successor for their business, if someone's goal is it's their first time attending their event and they want to make sure that they can find community, they're going to be able to find a space within Braindate because they're putting that out there, and other people will say, that's exactly it, I want to share in that with you too.
Yeah. So it's community generating the topics on, suggesting the topics that they would like to connect with others on, and then people can kind of drop themselves into those conversations on a platform ahead of the event.
So Braindate, it's a technology, like you said. So agnostic, integrate with over 90 plus tech partners, registration, app, and counting. But it's also the experience and the strategy surrounding it too. So we experienced producer and experienced team that works with event organizers to figure out how to best activate for their particular event and community. Whole roadmap leading up to the event, from communications, what the physical Braindate lounge, which is the space on the show floor, will look like, to how we're actually going to activate those community, those ambassadors in advance of the event. Then during the event, our team is on site, so just like how I was on site at this event, and we are constantly onboarding, finding out what people care about while they're, who they want to meet, getting them into Braindates. And then after the event, we have an insights call with the client to review what went well, what can be improved. And what's really amazing is this is a very human experience, but because we have that technology, there's a lot of insight can be learned, because you think of when you send out a survey, that's relevant in that moment right after the event. But now we're talking about an event that's happening maybe a year later, and they're coming with their backpack of, this is what I actually care about now. And that's what they're putting in the search bar in Braindate to see if other people also that too.
Yeah, because there's a huge amount of people here at Inbound. I think I've seen 8,000 plus in the app.
Yeah.
I think last year was 11,000, so I'd be interested to see how many kind of attendees came to Inbound. There's lots of people watching content, which takes a huge amount of networking time out. And even me, myself, it's challenging to try and find the people just in the periphery, like who you're supposed to connect with, who you're supposed to network with. So for me, it's kind of like, I don't want to insult Braindate, but it's kind of like the technology social lubricant that alcohol would be at a networking. And people kind of get loose a little bit and they're like, yeah, let's talk. Maybe
another way to also think about it, perhaps not in the alcoholic sense, is think of like when we were kids, or even now, because people still play it, Sims, and little diamond over their head and they're walking around. What if, and again, this is the real world, where people are being like, this is what I care about, this is what I want to last, and I'm like, I resonate with that, I want to meet with you. So it engineers that serendipity, so you're not walking over and hoping that after, whether you have that glass of wine in your hand, which that's a whole other conversation as far as how can we not rely on this so we can connect with people. Networking has such an ick for many people, no matter how outgoing they are or extroverted, and how can we design a way that people can find their people based on how they feel most comfortable and safe to do so.
Yeah.
So from the way that we design our technology and how we weave that into the event design with our clients and that strategy, we want to make sure, and that's what often we receive as a space of belonging was created. They felt value for their knowledge and their experience and that's, I mean, at the human level, that's what we want, and that combats loneliness. And we know that events, as populated as they are, can also be lonely for many people. So how can we make sure people know they have value, they're being seen, they're finding their people, which then for an event organizer means there's going to be retention and growth because they're going to come back next year and they're going to tell their friends that this was something, and that's something that Braindate as a company, we hear often. If they go to an event, they want to know that Braindate's there, or they're going to tell that organizer, you need something like Braindate, have to deal with this.
And when you talk to the inbound team, then when you talk to the HubSpot team, what's the value that they express to you by using Braindate?
Second year at Partner Day. So Partner Day is the day that kicks off in advance of Inbound, breaking the fourth wall. We're working on trying to get Inbound. The conversations are happening. Back to Adam.
For those that haven't got on this Inbound.
We are on site. This isn't on Zoom. We are talking to each other. But so it's our second year at Partner Day. And what I can already say that's amazing is, one, the lounge, so that physical space that I mentioned where Braindates occur, has grown significantly. So right there, they already know that there is the demand from our groups being at capacity before the event even happened. So, we're launching this on the app. People are coming in. It's usually those early adopters when you think of the curve. But we've now put further because that behavior from last year, people saw Braindates and they're like, I want to take part in this. So before the event even started, I upped for the groups, for the number of tables, which is always a fun thing to have. And it was full the whole time. So by having the lounge being larger, by having people know what's from last year and seeing value, and then collecting testimonials from last year and sharing that with the team so they can see your people actually chose to come to a Braindate versus perhaps even a session because they want that chance to meet someone and have that conversation that's ROI for them. And anecdote from this year, I was talking to someone who works for HubSpot and he's more on the product roadmap side. And his testimonial that he shared with us was he had about 50. What he learned from those conversations would have literally been months upon months of market research that he was able to do in one day that directly related to his 2025 product roadmap. And that was his goal. And that's one person. Another person is on the entrepreneurial journey and wanting to know how these resources would be able to help him grow his business. That's another persona. And all of these people were finding a space within their day lounge.
Awesome. And for anybody watching this back, where can they get involved in a Braindate? What other events that you partner with or power? And maybe that's also what industry events that you work with that maybe they'd be going to and attending that they could get involved in a Braindate?
I mean, what's really fun right now, pending on when this actually gets distributed, Adam, Braindate is coast to coast, literally in this moment, or all around the world actually, but this moment coast to coast because our team is over at Dreamforce right now as well. And so bringing the power of Braindates to Dreamforce. We work with clients like NVIDIA as far as GTC and how they're powering connections. A number of hospitality brands and hotel brands that people are very familiar with, how they're facilitating those connections for internal, external, financial advisor groups, automobile, banking. I don't want to just keep saying different headlines, but we're literally around the world doing this. We just completed a roadshow with Cloudflare and looking how that's going to be growing. So what I would say is, if you're at an event and you don't see Braindate, one, reach out to me on LinkedIn because perhaps there could be a conversation I could be having with that event team, and let's see what can happen. If perhaps you're looking to sponsor and you want to make sure that your sponsorship is not just a logo, let's say, and there's value there, we've had amazing sponsors for Braindate, and that's another conversation that can be had. But you'll see us all around the world. We're on social media, obviously, too, so follow us there. We have a newsletter, braindate.com. Check us out on G2. We're there. But we've been doing this for over a decade plus of bringing the power of Braindates to events. Now, a little bit of a spoiler, something that we're seeing, too, is community. We're hearing that word everywhere. We've been hearing it. But as we've come out of this post-COVID kind of world, how does that look for our remote teams? So something we're exploring is how can we build these rituals into communities at work where they Braindate intentional knowledge sharing and cross-pollinating conversations within their organizations. That's something too where different companies are doing pilots and working with them and growing. So that's something worth exploring. reach out and we can.
Well, that's Braindate. Check it out.
Thank you.